Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Nights Roundtable Live. It is me, Dalton Burdett, with the amazing Nick Iricchio. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, buddy. It's Friday. We're ready to party.
That's right. We are ready to party. And guys, we have a hell of a show for you. But before we dive into that, a couple things. One, if you're in the live chat, if you're watching live and you want to participate with us, please leave comments. We can pop them up on the screen like I'm doing right now. We'd love to make you part of the conversation and part of our community. And if you feel so inclined to super chat, please don't feel obliged to. We'll obviously prioritize your questions in that way. I also want to talk about the actual show that we're going to be doing. We are going to be talking about trailers. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Christopher Nolan, HBO, Hunger Games, and Daredevil. So much to get into. So without further ado, we're going to dive into our first topic today, and that is a couple of superhero trailers that came out throughout the past week, Nicholas. Let's get rolling to your beautiful PowerPoint here. The first one we're going to talk about is the obvious one. Guys, we got to fucking talk about Superman. We have to talk about Superman. The new trailer is out. It's about 3 minutes long. It was a relatively, long teaser trailer. We're actually getting a little bit more of the story, a bit more of the meat of what's going on in the film. Here's some information. As we know, it's directed by James Gunn. It stars David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, and everybody else. And we now have a synopsis, which is Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent as the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, as he soon finds himself in a world that views these things as old-fashioned. And I'm going to dive into this now, Nicholas. I really like this trailer. I thought it was really well done. I particularly love the dynamic already and the chemistry with David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan. And obviously that's a very key thing that you need in a Superman story, and they clearly have that chemistry there. I also love that Lois Lane is such a great journalist that even when she's with her hubby, she's like, oh, I can interview you as Superman, and then immediately just fucking presses him with like really important questions. And I like seeing Superman kind of get angry, like him getting mad about that. And, I thought the action looked great. It looked like it was a big spectacle. I love the fact that we're dealing with him going off to other places to deal with things, but was he representing America, and is that allowed? I thought it was really well done, and can I tell you the part of the trailer that really got me to the point where like I almost teared up because I'm a baby with these things? The moment when a random citizen picked up Superman to help him, like when he fell. I was like, oh man, that's what it's all about. That's what it is right there. It reminded me of like the Spider-Man 2 scene with the people on the train. I love when citizens help the hero. I don't know, it just gets me. But Nicholas, I'm throwing it your way. What were your thoughts on the trailer, and did you enjoy it as much as I did?
I did, because I think that it was playing with a lot of expectations. One, we got him fighting the dragon again, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think that the idea of the story, one, the opening of just the way his voice and posture change when he switches, when she's like, all right, Cronkite, let's go. And then just that Superman voice of like, all right, Miss Lane, I thought that their dynamic and chemistry in that scene worked really well. It's really, the minute that Rachel Brosnahan was cast, I was fully on board with it. I thought she was a great pick for Lois Lane. I want more of, which it's curious that they didn't play into it more, because it seemed like they made the Daily Planet such a big focal point of all the like marketing and a lot of the casting, and I felt like it was very absent from this trailer as a whole. But we got a lot of great stuff. We got Lex Luthor being a hater. We got a first look at the Engineer, which I thought her style and her like the way her suit operated, I thought looked really cool. And I think that the most important stuff to me was I really liked that you were watching Superman fail a bit. Like that shot, the tracking shot of the camera trying to catch up with him as he blasts off, I thought was incredible. But the way the trailer ends with Superman falling, I thought was a great marketing strategy to bring in that level of intrigue with everything. And, I really liked it. We got a little glimpse of the childhood home, the parents. I think that they look like great casting choices, especially with the mom. As soon as she said like her first line of dialogue, I was like, oh, this is great casting. To me, I just think the movie's very well cast, and I think James Gunn's a solid director overall. So I'm excited just because I think it's gonna be good.
Listen, I agree with you. I agree completely. I thought it was a great trailer. Guys, What did you think of the Superman trailer? Let us know in the comments as we move on to the next trailer we're going to talk about, and that is for Ironheart. Ironheart is the latest Marvel television series that's coming out. And hold on, let me do some reframing here. And it seems that for some reason, Marvel doesn't really want us to know about the show that much because it comes out in June and they just now released the trailer. Now, to be fair, their trailers windows have gotten much shorter, especially since they've been trying to kind of market one thing at a time. And with Daredevil and Thunderbolts kind of being back-to-back, now it's finally Ironheart's turn. So I'm glad that we're actually getting marketing for the show. I'm excited for the show. But let's talk about it really first before we get into the trailer. It's created by Chinika Hodge, writer of The Midnight Club, or On the Midnight Club, excuse me. It's executive produced by Ryan Coogler, which we know stars Dominic Thorne, Anthony Ramos, Alden Ehrenreich. Thank God he needs to be in more things. And it releases in June. And it's going to release 3 episodes one week, and then we think it's going to release 3 episodes another week and just kind of release it in 2 parts. The synopsis follows: following the events of Wakanda Forever, MIT student Riri Williams returns to Chicago where she becomes entangled with the enigmatic Parker Robbins / the Hood, discovering secrets that pit technology against magic and set her on a path of danger and adventure. Now, that all sounds very cool. I wish the trailer was a little bit better. I don't hate the trailer. I don't think it's awful. But I think if you're going to release a first trailer for your Ironheart show, and we have a mere number of just weeks before it comes out, you got to come out with more of a bang than what we got. And the magic against science thing is cool. I'm not sure, and again, we haven't seen it yet, so I could be proven wrong. But as from what I've seen, it does not seem like that was the route to go for this story. It just seems like an odd choice. Now, look, I love Anthony Ramos. I love the Hood. Very cool character. I'm curious to see how they're going to play in a television series setting, because like in the comics is a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you can do anything in comic books and it works. I wish I liked the trailer more. I'm still excited for the show. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch the whole thing. I mean, look at me. Of course I'm going to watch the whole thing. But I think the trailer needed to be a lot stronger for it being this close out, and I wish it was. And I hope that as we get more marketing, the trailers we get are even better than what they are. Nick, what were your thoughts on the trailer?
No, I mean, I agree. You know, I enjoyed the character in Wakanda Forever. I wouldn't say that she was a standout character, you know, especially kind of when you were looking at, because this has been like shot and shelved for like 3 years, I think, or something.
Yeah, it was
like
shot
that, right?
years ago.
Years ago. And I think if you're looking at the characters that were introduced in projects that then come into other things, right? Like you watch WandaVision, you're like, oh, Agatha is a full standout character. Why is she even getting a spin-off series? Even though I love the character, you know, and I felt the same with Riri Williams, especially because, you know, when you're watching it too, the whole premise of the trailer is her saying she wants to build something incredible, wants to build something amazing, but she's just building an Iron Man suit. You know, so I kind of wish, and maybe the magical elements are going to play into that more. I feel like if you're talking about a mechanical, technological character versus the mystical, I think that's what WandaVision did so well with the concept of Vision and White Vision ultimately at the end. Mm-hmm. So it seems like almost maybe that could have been saved for the Vision Quest show that we're getting. And there's still a lot of rumors and things out there, right? Because I think there was rumors that Alden Ehrenreich might be playing the son of Obadiah Stane, in which case they're just doing Iron Man as a TV show. I don't know if there's remotely any truth to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
That was something that I do remember seeing kind of out there for a bit, you know, that picked up some traction. And isn't there also rumors too, as always, of Mephisto's involvement?
Yes. There's a big rumor that Sacha Baron Cohen will be playing Mephisto in the series.
Because he is in the series. I believe confirmed, right? Sacha Baron Cohen, just not sure.
I think so. But of course, they're not going to say who he's playing.
You know what I think it is? I think it's a Vulture situation. Where
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, everyone was like, when Spider-Man Homecoming was come out, they were like, oh, Vulture's going to be the main villain in Spider-Man Homecoming. And then they're like, oh, Michael Keaton's going to play the main villain in Spider-Man Homecoming. But no one would say Michael Keaton is playing Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I think it's the same thing. Like, oh, Mephisto's going to be an Ironheart. Sacha Baron Cohen's going to be an Ironheart.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Anthony Ramos guy. That was kind of a deterrent for me.
I love him.
It is what it is. But I think he was an interesting casting choice for the Hood. I don't think it's a bad choice, but I think it's an interesting one. I'm not really overly familiar with the character, but I mean, I think just really the whole crux of the show being the mystical versus the technological. Technological. I don't know if that's something that captures my interest or something that I could see. Like, I don't see where that story's going. So I think the show has a lot to win me over into just that storyline as a concept and just the premise of the show as a whole. However, if we're going to talk about positives, one, I thought the effects and like the cinematography, like the way it looked shot, I thought all looked wonderful, especially for a Marvel television show.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. The VFX look unbelievable. And here's the thing, they shot it so long ago, they've probably just been working on this bitch as it kept getting pushed. Like, hey, we can just keep working on the VFX.
They've just been rendering it. Yeah. So I think that looks great, and that's probably, in the way the look, the stylistic of the show, one probably goes to the showrunner, but also to Ryan Coogler as an executive producer. I bet, that was something he's like, well, if my name's going to be on it, then I'm going to be doing that. And then I think that also, I thought it was funny that they brought back Jim Rash.
Yes.
So Jim Rash played the dean on Community, and then he played the dean of MIT in Civil War. He had a brief scene with Tony Stark due to the Russo brothers throwing in Community cameos when they can, as that's where they kind of got their start. So I thought that was a funny random character to bring back, but it makes sense.
Yeah, because I didn't remember him being in Wakanda Forever.
I don't
think he is.
He was either. No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's very easily a thing they could have just said, like, oh, there's a new dean.
Yeah.
But they went that route, and I'm happy for it because I think he's a wonderful comedy actor. I think the dean from Community is honestly probably in my top 5 of just TV character performances for comedy. So I'm never gonna be upset about seeing him in a role.
No, listen, 100%. And I'm glad you brought up the stuff about the VFX. I think it looks fantastic, and I'm really excited to see whoever Alden Ehrenreich is playing. I love Alden Ehrenreich, and he needs to do more things. But my only main concern for the show, really, other than just like I wish the trailer was stronger, was even from Brad Winderbaum's mouth that this show is a product of the old regime. It's a product of quantity over quality for Marvel, where they just had to produce as much stuff as possible. And the reason why they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it is because it didn't really meet their standards quite yet. And it looks like with the release strategy and the slow marketing that they're kind of sending it out to die, which I kind of hate. I hate for the actors. I hate for the crew. Like, they don't deserve it. But at the same time, it was shot years ago, and it is a product of that regime. Same with Wonder Man later this year. That's all part of the same thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how the show actually plays out, what it does. But guys, what did you think of the Ironheart trailer? We'd love to see your thoughts in the comments down below. Let us know as we move on to our next story. And Nicholas, this is quite the exciting update. As you know, you and I have been covering the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot. As more information has been coming out about it, we've covered it extensively. Well, we have the big update. The big update being they have their new Slayer. Who is going to take the mantle over? We know that obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar is returning as Buffy and she's coming onto the show, but there's going to be a new Slayer. And that new Slayer will be Ryan Kiera Armstrong. She has won the role over, and if you're wondering, they sound familiar. Have I seen them in something? You probably have, because they were in Firestarter, the remake of the film, and most prominently, where I know her from, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which she was so damn good in that show, especially for like a child actor. She's unbelievable. I love her performance in that show. She's so good. The pilot is set for Hulu, as we previously reported, and Oscar winner Chloe Zhao will direct the pilot. Yo, I forgot about that. That's so exciting. And Armstrong's character is being described in the casting materials as an introverted high school student. Of course. And we, of course, take that from Deadline. We highly encourage you to go look up the articles for yourselves and read them. Guys, this is great. I think this is a great casting. This actor, if you haven't watched their work, again, Skeleton Crew, she was... And this is no disrespect to any of the other kids in that show. They're kids, for God's sakes. They all did a good job. I thought she was leagues above everybody else, personally. And I thought she really carried the show in a way. She has a lot of heart. She has a lot of charisma. I think it's exactly what this franchise needs, is a fresh new face to push it forward with the guidance of the old, being, the old crew, I mean. And if you haven't seen it, by the way, I love when people do this. They've released the video of Sarah Michelle Gellar Zooming with Ryan Kiera Armstrong to tell her that she won the part. And it's so damn cool. Like, I love when you see those casting videos like that. I love it. But Nick, I've rambled. What are your thoughts?
No, listen, I think I think she's a great choice. I agree with your sentiment about Skeleton Crew. To me, I thought she was the best child actor on that show. And what's equally as crazy too is that for Firestarter, she was actually nominated for a Razzie. And there was a whole controversy where that happened, regardless of the quality of the performance. But everyone online was actually collectively cool about something. And they were like, hey, Razzies, fuck you. That's a kid.
Yeah, exactly. That would be my thought.
So she got the Razzies to apologize. Well, I don't think she did, but the Razzies issued a formal apology to her, which was always nice to see, especially given that. Especially also since that, you would think that didn't affect her Skeleton Crew casting. And again, she was sort of the standout of that show for those performances, I thought. So I think it's great, and according to some of the early details, or at least the casting call, she's sort of an introverted, shy high schooler, which is going to be interesting to see because she was a very extroverted persona on Skeleton Crew. So I'm excited to see her range in that regard. And also the fact, I think in real life, she is 15. Okay. And so she's probably going to be playing a freshman in high school. So they really are giving her a lot of wiggle room for how the show can grow with her and really giving it that longevity. Because I know right now, I think it's legitimately just a pilot order, right?
I think so. And, so, and it's going to be actually age accurate, which I like that Hollywood is starting to do that instead of like 35-year-olds.
Buffy was a freshman, and I've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother, and they're all 25. Like, okay. Yeah. So I think that's good. And I'm excited that Sarah Michelle Gellar's coming back. I like that Chloe Zhao's involved. I think she's a phenomenal director. And having her at the helm for this pilot to set the tone for the rest of the show, I think is a great choice.
I agree completely. Guys, what do you think about Ryan Kiera Armstrong being cast as the new Slayer in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the reboot? Let us know in the comments. Before we move on to our next story, though, we have a really funny live chat. Dylan Stoner says, why can't this hoodie be a Time hoodie? I believe a reference to Community, as we were bringing that up earlier.
That is a incredible poll and probably one of the Dean's best lines in that entire show. And to have the Dean in a show with the hood, I feel like they're playing with them. We better get a reference. We probably won't. Why would they? But that would be nice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a deep cut, though. Honestly, respect.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for that. Moving on to our next story. Guys, it's that time. We need to talk about our Lord and Savior, Christopher Nolan. As you guys know, he is writing and directing the Odyssey, coming out next year. I believe it's really either close to wrapping production or it has wrapped production, at least in one of the parts of the world that it's filming in. And we've just gotten a new update about the making of the Odyssey. This will be the first blockbuster movie ever, and maybe, I think, even the first movie ever, to be filmed entirely on IMAX cameras. Get ready for this shit. After Oppenheimer, the big screen company, being IMAX, designed new cameras and production tech to allow Nolan to shoot in IMAX on film end-to-end, not just for select sequences like most films. 20% of Oppenheimer's gross was IMAX screens. That's insane. 30% quieter. No more Nolan muff dialogue. That's a good touch, Nicholas. All new cameras are currently reserved for Nolan and Nolan only until Odyssey wraps production. That's aura, okay? That is aura right there. And listen, something that needs to be pointed out. When it says 30% quieter, I don't know if you've seen those things on sets where it shows how loud the IMAX camera is. They are so goddamn loud. Like, it's crazy. So that's also just a great thing. Honestly, on God, it probably will help the sound mix for sure. But this is the best news of all time ever. Like, are you kidding me? Like, if you think select sequences in IMAX are cool, beginning to end, dude, like, it's gonna be, I'm gonna see this movie in theaters like 5 fucking times. Like, you know
As
it's
with
going
all
to happen.
Nolan movies.
Yes, correct. But like, it's going to be such an experience. And honestly, a trend that we've been seeing, and by the way, I love this. I love that when you market your movie as it must be seen in a premium format, people are going to see it in a premium format. Like it just said, 20% of Oppenheimer's gross was IMAX screens. Sinners, I believe, as numbers come out with that, we're going to find out a lot of the percentage of that was IMAX and 70mm IMAX screens. Like, thank God that this marketing is working for these premium formats. We've been preaching from the mountaintops, Nicholas, forever, that it's the best way to watch a movie. IMAX, Dolby, all that great premium stuff. This is fantastic news. And obviously they're letting Nolan be the poster child for doing it first. But I can't wait to see other filmmakers and other amazing people get to shoot entire fucking things in IMAX. Yes! Yes! Nicholas, give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think it's always great too when, a filmmaker can provide the industry with innovation to this level, and I would hearken it back to like sort of James Cameron waiting and inventing new ways so that they could film these massive sequences underwater with Avatar. If you look at what Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie are doing from a stunt perspective, and how you can film these different stunts and how they can be portrayed on film to get that realistic vibe, I think it's always a great thing. It's kind of like what is the expression? A rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
So I think it's nothing but positive in this regard. And just looking ahead too, I mean, it's a shame Mission Impossible's wrapping up. Can you imagine the last Mission Impossible movie in all IMAX?
Oh my God.
And here's the thing, right? These get rented out to studios. All these sort of things happen. I wouldn't be surprised, if Greta Gerwig's Narnia is a success, right? I think they're going to film some stuff on Narnia on IMAX. I wouldn't be shocked if maybe the second and the third movie get that. I think we're going to start seeing. I bet Tarantino's last film, whenever that gets made, I bet he tries to do something in that regard as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great thing. I think it's an exciting thing, and I'm interested to see how it plays out from an experimental standpoint. Right? Is that it sounds rad, it sounds amazing. So I hope the execution is also equally as amazing, because those IMAX sequences hit so hard every time they come on. So just starting your movie with that, I wonder if it does diminish some effect on it or if it just enhances.
What I'm interested in is who's booked it next. Because someone's got it locked. And I'm wondering what it is. Because it's probably not something we're expecting it to be. Like, I also wouldn't be surprised if the next Paul Thomas Anderson film, not the one that's coming out this year, but his next film, I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to be on these cameras, because he loves shooting 70mm as well. Phantom Thread, I saw in 70mm, and it was gorgeous. But I'm very, very curious to see who books it next. I'll be following the news as we find out what that's going to be.
Yeah, same. I don't think the article mentioned anything.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
It just named a bunch of movies that have IMAX scenes coming up soon.
Yeah. But guys, what do you think about the Odyssey using entirely IMAX cameras to make the whole movie? Let's go. Leave your thoughts in the comments as we move on to our next story. And Nick, this story is the one I'm second most excited about, other than our main topic today. I cannot wait to talk about this. Guys, you may recall a few years ago, HBO Max decided to become Max, for which on this show and literally everywhere else in the world, you saw people going, hey, why the fuck would you do that? That is an incredibly dumb decision. You are taking the brand of HBO, the thing that got people to sign up, and you are just immediately taking it away. Why would you do that? This makes no sense. Well, they finally fucking realized it made no sense, because, ladies and gentlemen, I love this image. Max is going to go back to being named HBO Max very soon. This comes to us from Hollywood Reporter. Warner Brothers changes Max back to HBO Max. It originally launched as HBO Max in 2020. It changed its name to Max in 2023. HBO has always represented the highest quality in media, and the part of the quote of it is, with the course we are on, we believe HBO Max far better represents our current consumer proposition. Okay, there's so much to fucking talk about here, Nicholas, but let's talk about the obvious. You should have never changed it in the first place, you goddamn morons. Why would you take HBO out of the name? Oh, but it goes deeper than that. And by the way, before I go into my rant that I'm about to do, Dan Murrell, amazing movie YouTuber, has been around a long time, made an incredible video about HBO confusing its consumers from HBO Now to HBO Go to HBO Max to back to HBO Max. It's an incredible video. Please go watch it on his channel. It's so good. Anyway, diving into this. Warner Brothers Discovery has made some questionable decisions. I think we can say that. If you recall, this was a controversy a while ago. I can't quite remember if we talked about it on the show or not, but I know we had personal conversations about it. Do you remember that graph that leaked from I forget if it was an investor presentation or some meeting that said Warner Brothers and Discovery are perfect for the merge because they had recently merged, because on the Warner Brothers side, you have male-skewed content, and they called it lean-in content. And then on the Discovery side, you have more female-centered lean-back content, which was like reality shows and stuff. And people were like, oh, they have no idea what they're doing. This is going to be a disaster. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what's happening. They removed HBO from the brand of their streaming service, and then what happened immediately after that? Everyone's like, oh, this streaming service means fucking nothing. And so you started getting these awful shows greenlit on the platform with shows that had HBO level quality that were being conflated on the same service over and over and over again. And to the point where, and we pointed this out recently, The Penguin suddenly was not a Max show, it was an HBO show. There was another one, too, that they did that was coming out, or just came out, that was a Max show, and then they said, nope. Oh, Lanterns, the upcoming Lanterns. It was originally a Max show, and then actually, nope, it's an HBO show. Why did they do that? Because they realized the significance of that brand. And when you put it behind something, it's the confidence that it's going to be good. So literally by removing HBO from your name, you were telling consumers, oh, the good part? Who cares? We just want to have quantity. That's what we care about. And that's what all it was for so long. This is so dumb. The only thing that is positive, about the whole thing, is at least HBO Max and Warner Brothers is leaning in to the fact that they're going to get made fun of. Their social media interns have been killing it with the memes about going back to HBO Max. I have to give credit where it's due. They have been killing it in that regard. So good for them. Nick, give me your fucking thoughts.
No, I mean, I think it's a smart move. The smarter move was just to never have changed it in the first place, but here we are, and I think that HBO for the longest time has always represented that prestige. When you think back on their catalog of shows that came out before Max, I mean, they were must-watch TV, cable TV shows, it was required viewing in a sense, if you wanted to be part of those water cooler talks, especially during the height of Game of Thrones and everything in that regard. And I think that switch from Max perfectly encapsulated sort of the ineptitude of a lot of the executives there that are still there as well, in that you remove the prestige from your branding, people are no longer going to associate you with prestige. And now, listen, there have been great series that have come out on Max. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
But when you're watching that shift, Penguin being nominated for Best Drama and all this stuff, the HBO show, that gives me a lot of excitement and a lot of anticipation for Lanterns, as you said, making that shift versus it being a Max original. I'm curious where Peacemaker lies, because I think, was Peacemaker a Max original?
It was, but now they're saying it's an HBO Max original.
So now they're trying to get the HBO back into it, so yeah. I think it's all these things that regard, they're trying to gain that trust back, which they should never have lost in the first place. I think it was a dumb move, why would you get rid of, it's like McDonald's becoming Donald's. Why would you get rid of the Mick? That's what makes
the Mick is the best part.
We are now just King, no longer Burger King. We're just everything. I think it was just these are bad analogies, but I think it was just a dumb move. If you have a brand and a consumer base built on that mutual respect and that idea of the prestige, I think it was just dumb to alienate and remove that part. And listen, they have been good sports about it with the memes and everything in that regard, but just because they just because the corporation gets, I don't think they get a pass for their stupidity just because they're making light of it. But I do have good respect for those interns. But also just ahead too. I mean, they even posted on their social media. James Gunn and John Cena are out here doing press for
I saw
Peacemaker,
that.
and James Gunn was doing a clip. You can find it online where they're filming it to air in August, which I thought was crazy that they film like just how Hollywood works. He was in front of a camera. It was like, tune in tomorrow, Thursday, August 22nd, to watch Peace, whatever the scene was, on Max. And then someone goes, it's HBO Max now. He goes, it's HBO Max now? And it was this whole dialogue. He's like, that's smart. It was fucking dumb to remove that. You have a studio executive, a studio head at your company saying it's dumb,
Yeah.
Which, again, this could have all been really well planned PR, but
I think
thought
it was.
just,
I think it was planned, but
it
still.
100% was, but I
Yeah.
thought it was at least funny about it,
Oh yeah. It had the self-awareness to be able to be like, this was a dumb move. And there are even rumors, and these are rumors, right? That they're gonna split Warner Brothers and Discovery again because they realized that it wasn't working. And it's like, dude, if that happens, Jesus Christ, like, Anyway,
But I think
they
what's
upset
even
me.
more interesting about this, though, just to go off tangent for a minute here, the the studio environment, these studios are all interacting with each other. Is so interesting to me. We had, and you've talked about a lot on the show, this fear of the streaming wars, right? That FOMO of not having your streaming service now. And what happens? You need to flood it with content. What happens? You get diminished quality returns. And literally, we just did a show last week, 2 weeks ago, where Bob Iger explicitly was saying, like, now it's quality over quantity. We fucked up. We're trying to be better. Like, get excited. We got some good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And now you have HBO Max doing the exact same thing, where this article from Hollywood Reporter is just riddled with quotes of just like, we're getting back to prestige TV. They're just openly admitting that they were messed up, that they didn't have a lot of hits. And just that idea of it, I just think is interesting, that now you have the FOMO of all these studios, and now all these studios have the regrets of doing it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we joke about it all the time. I'm gonna have to be the one that makes a documentary on it. I'm gonna have to do it. But also going back to the Bob Iger thing, what's interesting is, like, we talked about Ironheart being shot years ago, and Wonder Man and Eyes of Wakanda and Marvel Zombies, all these things that are coming out this year in 2025. And you might be thinking, I thought we were going back to quality over quantity. It's like, we are. That's why they dumped it all this year. Because they want, in 2026, when you kick off with Born Again Season 2 and Doomsday, that's going to be like we're only doing quality from here on out. So they took everything and put it this year. And it's like, they're trying to you can tell they're just trying to get through the stuff they've shot years ago. So that way they can just, like, get ahead of it.
Yeah, because just through the rest of this year, you have Ironheart, Wonder Man, Zombies, Eyes of Wakanda. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They wrapped up What If, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, tons of stuff. But guys, what do you think about Max changing back to HBO Max? Please dog on Warner Brothers in the comments for me. Anyway, moving on to our next story. This one actually dropped today. It dropped a few hours ago. Nicholas was a big trooper getting it in the PowerPoint last minute. This one was rumored a while ago from Daniel RPK, Daniel Rickman, a famous scooper online. But of course, you have to take what he says with a grain of salt sometimes, just because it's not from a reputable source, although he is right most of the time. So we usually talk about his stuff on the show. We say, hey, take it with a grain, but here's what's going on. He said this a while ago, but now it's been confirmed by the trades. In the Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, the actor playing President Snow will be the amazing Ralph Fiennes. This is fucking enormous casting. Let's get some more details. Taking it from The Hollywood Reporter, was obviously first portrayed by Donald Sutherland and Tom Blyth from the previous Hunger Games movie, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Also joining recently were Maya Hawke as Wiress, and the movie comes out November of next year. Dude, you made this joke yesterday, and I'm going to say it on the show now. They announced that they're doing an Oscar for casting directors, and this person was like, oh, fucking watch this, and just called everybody she knew. Dude,
It's insane.
This cast is stacked. It's stacked, dude. And dude, when you add Ray Fiennes to anything, you've made the right call. He's one of the best actors working today. He's one of the best actors without an Oscar, which is crazy. It's crazy he doesn't have an Academy Award. Look,
which is why he's known as Ralph now.
Yes. Going back to the Conan joke. Listen, first of all, he's an incredible actor. Him playing this role, oh, come on, dude. It's perfect. It's like match made in heaven, perfect. Like, it's one of those castings where you see it and you're like, of course, it was never going to not be that. Like, how is it going to be anything else than this?
Listen, if they lock Kieran Culkin down, if that Oscar's not already on lock, I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, listen, this is clearly an incredible choice. I haven't read this book yet, but I think it doesn't matter what the words say on the page. You put Ray Fiennes could have been playing fucking anybody in this movie, and I would have been like, that's an excellent choice. They're on the right path. But Nick, your thoughts specifically on Ray Fiennes playing President Snow?
No, I mean, I think I'll echo your sentiment, right? I think he's one of the best actors working today. You know, I think he's absolutely, his range is unparalleled. You can put him in anything and he's going to crush it, you know. And I think I'm very excited. You know, I enjoy the Hunger Games movies. I actually never got a chance to see Songbirds and Snakes. The power went out in the theater. I got about 20 minutes into it, and I just didn't get a chance to revisit it yet. But I do plan on doing it. So, but you know, it was kind of, I was always sort of lukewarm on the Hunger Games franchise as a whole. It might be a hot take, I don't know. But man, every single casting announcement that they've done for this movie, and just the intrigue, because I always loved Woody Harrelson's character in the originals. You know, so I think just this whole concept and all of this casting has actually made me very excited for a Hunger Games movie, which I can't say that I had going into like the last one, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
So, I mean, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's totally fair.
Yeah. No, so, I mean, I think they've been crushing it, and I think that it's never a bad idea to add talent, and man, they have added so much talent, even more so now with his inclusion. And Rachel Zegler had a fun, I think it was Instagram or Twitter or something. She had she put a tweet and just said, like, not my movie X being Voldemort, which I thought was pretty comical. So, you know, I think I'm very excited. You know, I don't know how, I saw a little bit, I guess, of Tom Blythe, but I kind of see the Pokemon evolution vision that they're going with here. Honestly, with everyone, and I think they've just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, so just to give a quick rundown, if you saw me on my phone, it's because I was pulling up the full cast of this movie. Let's not even worry about the characters they're playing, which, yes, is obviously very important. But just as a cast, just picture any movie. Any movie is announced with this cast. How are you not excited? Ray Fiennes, Jesse Plemons, McKenna Grace, Joseph Zada, Ben Wong, Maya Hawke, Whitney Peak, Lily Taylor, Calvin Harrison Jr. Come on, dude. This is crazy work. Dude, they aren't sleeping over at Lionsgate. They need a hit. They're like, get fucking everybody. A couple chats in the live chat from Hannah. She says, man, Rafe has range, Voldemort, Conclave, and President Snow. I'm obsessed. Yes, and we all need them to distract King. And Hannah also says, in all caps, lukewarm on Hunger Games. Nick, we're going to fight. So unfortunately, you're going to have to prepare yourself for that one, Nick. So
I'm at a disadvantage, honestly.
Honestly, yes.
But I mean, she named some great stuff, but we're not even also including Schindler's List, Grand Budapest Hotel, The Menu. I mean, the man can do it all. Yes,
literally all of it. Guys, what do you think about Ray Fiennes joining the Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our main topic story today. And Nicholas, our main topic story is something I've been waiting for so long. Oh, I'm finally getting vindicated for all the things I've asked for as like a young adult. You know, now I'm getting into my 30s, and I'm like, I'm close to 30. I'm like, this is what we need. This is the kind of wins we win. Ladies and gentlemen, it's official, announced at a Disney presentation. Krysten Ritter is coming back as Jessica Jones for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Woo! That's what we're talking about. That's what dreams are made of. I'm so fucking amped about this. Let's pull up some details from what we at least know. She's going to appear in Born Again Season 2. Quote from her, "It's so great to be back, returning to Jessica Jones after 3 seasons and The Defenders, and now joining the MCU. And, of course, this was part of the Netflix Marvel deal, which included provision which prevented characters from being featured in any non-Netflix series or films set for at least 2 years after cancellation." We're well past 2 years after the cancellation. Hannah just put in the live chat, "I agree, the Queen has returned." Absolutely. She's back. This is exciting for a number of reasons. One, I love Daredevil. I love Daredevil Born Again. I love Krysten Ritter and Jessica Jones. And the fact that they're bringing more of these Defenders characters, these Netflix universe together, really excites me, just as a fan. I love seeing it together. I love it. I'm losing words just thinking about how excited I am. I'm letting excitement get over my use of the English language here. What's also great about it is, in the story of Daredevil Born Again, and I won't get into too deep of spoilers in case you haven't seen it, clearly they're setting up an army of some kind. And the fact that Jessica Jones, in some capacity, is going to be involved in that makes... I cannot wait. Just the dynamic of Matt and Jessica in The Defenders was one of the best parts about that show. I thought their chemistry was great, their banter was great, and being able to utilize this character again, because I hope that she's in more. I hope whether she gets another own season herself or pops up in other things, I would love to see that from her. I just think she's a character that's completely underutilized. Krysten Ritter is perfect for this role. I wouldn't want the character back if Krysten wasn't coming with her. I cannot wait for this, Nicholas. Give me your thoughts.
No, I mean, I think it's very exciting. You know, if we're looking at the Netflix series, right, I think obviously Daredevil is the king of all those, right? He sits at the top, but I think Jessica Jones is right there in second place, honestly.
Dude, season 1 of Jessica Jones is fucking awesome. It amazing.
Is. No, it's an incredible season of television, and I think that she absolutely crushes the role. I think it's, as they did with most of these Defenders, excluding some notable ones, but it was great casting. I think Charlie Cox is a perfect Daredevil. I loved Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. I hope we get him back in some regard as well, you know? But I think if you're looking at the Defenders to bring back, especially if you're having to use Daredevil's show as the conduit for it, I think Jessica Jones, well, first Punisher and then Jessica Jones, I think made the most sense. You know, I wonder if this will fuel any speculation, because I remember there was a lot of talk about a possible Elektra return as well with Elodie Young. So I think that might be adding some more fuel to that fire. But I think they need an army, and I think she's a great addition to that army. And I'm excited for all of the story potential that can lead to it. You know, one of my favorite characters from the new show, to be honest, was kind of her replacement with Cherry. I thought he was a great private investigator character, obviously not superpowered in any regard, but I can just imagine and visualize that dynamic and that conversation. It just gets me excited, you know? And I am curious if they'll bring her back. Like, I felt like they did a great job of giving Punisher a story reason to be back. I wonder if like what their in will be with Jessica Jones, because I hope it's not just like, I know someone. Like, you know, I hope that maybe she has like her own little arc and some personal stakes, as opposed to just being there to be there, you know?
Yeah, like if they
trust the writers.
If they used her about as much as they used Frank, I'd be okay. I think they're going to use her even more, to be honest. But if they used her that amount, I'd be okay with that. And of course, this leads to the question of, will this lead to other Defenders coming onto Daredevil? I also really want to see Mike Coulter return as Luke Cage. I think that'd be amazing. Guys, I'm cutting to my single. If Finn Jones comes back as Iron Fist, I'm going to be an unbearable piece of shit on this show. And I mean that in a positive way. Season 1 of Iron Fist is one of the worst pieces of garbage I've ever seen. I don't think it was Finn Jones' fault. Season 2, huge improvement, almost night and day. And I think he did a good job. The Defenders, I thought he was much better than he was in Iron Fist Season 1. And then his episode of Luke Cage, he's fucking incredible. He's amazing. He just needed the right team and push behind him. I want to see him get his redemption. I want to come in. You know what I want to see, Nicholas? I want to see there's a fight going on in Daredevil. Someone's getting their ass beat. They're on the ground. They're backing up. Someone's towering over them, getting ready to stomp on them and kick their ass. And suddenly a golden fucking fist just flies through their chest, like gory. Their heart fucking comes out. and it's just a gold fist, and you as an audience member go, no fucking way it's going to be that actor, and then the body falls and it's fucking Finn Jones. Dude, I would literally scream at the top of my lungs. Now, granted, go ahead.
I think what's more accurate is it's a golden bullet shot from a golden gun.
Listen, if they go back where we were, absolutely, yes. And honestly, I want Colleen Wing back too. I want Misty Knight back too. And more importantly, can we get fucking Rosario Dawson back in this bitch?
Yeah, I don't give a shit
Claire.
about these Defenders heroes. I want all of the side players. They were what I loved about the Defenders show, was that it was so many storylines of the sidekicks, quote unquote. I was like, yeah, give me more of this. Trish is in the raft with the leader and the president. It's fine. But
give me Brett Mahoney, Nick. If we get fucking Turk,
I was so disappointed that we didn't get Turk in Daredevil Born Again. I watched every episode. I was like, please, just give this to me.
Yeah.
And Mahoney. Honestly, out of all the characters, I felt Mahoney's absence the most.
Yeah. For real.
Oh man. Listen, I think Jessica Jones coming back it's all good things, and I'm excited to see where it leads to. I like the idea of these shows, right? Daredevil Born Again, that title giving a lot of a different meaning, right? The show being born again, him having to be born again as Daredevil. I think on a symbolic level worked really well. And I think there's a lot of great story perspective, like you had said, right? I think the idea of a Luke Cage Iron Fist show, Heroes for Hire, would be great. And you could kind of play into with that concept of like them being sort of the outcast defenders, with Daredevil in the spotlight. I think them having to actually be hired for their gigs, I think is an interesting story beat. And I would love to even see maybe they can do a Jessica Jones series actually just titled Alias after the comic. I think that would be a great decision and a great end to do that. Like Daredevil, you're kind of stuck with,
Yeah.
But Jessica Jones, it was always Alias, and I think that would be a great storyline.
Dude,
I think it'd be a great series.
If they give me Heroes for Hire with Cage and Fist, I'm done.
Can you imagine 3 Netflix or Disney Plus series: Daredevil, Born Again, Alias, and Heroes for Hire? That's just everything the Netflix series to be.
And then sprinkle Punisher in there. Oh my God.
Well, Punisher's getting his specials.
Yes.
If we get a Punisher Warzone,
I think they would do War Journal, but yes. But also,
that's fine too. Whatever they do.
Listen. Speaking of side characters, bring back Curtis from Punisher, man. I fucking love Curtis. I'd love to see him back. And Agent Madani, bring them all back. Bring him back. Also, while we
get Micro.
Well, listen, you can, because the thing's from a different universe. But
that is true.
But if you're not going to get Micro, if we're not going to get Micro, we haven't had the MCU version of Detective Soap, famous comic book character. I would love to see it. Just saying.
Detective Soap?
Yes, they did him in the Punisher Warzone movie, and he's a great comic character. I would love to see him in...
His name's Martin Soap?
Yes, 100%.
Honestly, top 10 character names I've ever heard.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. But going back to Jessica Jones, which is what I'm mostly excited about, I'm really excited to see her interactions with Karen Page. Because we didn't get a whole lot of them together in the Defenders. And so I think that they would have kind of clashing personalities, and I would love to see how those personalities clash up close. And what I'm also even more excited about, Jessica Jones, I think, was one of the biggest victims of the low budgets of the Netflix shows when it comes to showing Jessica Jones's powers, because all they could really do was cut to a camera and show someone flying from off camera saying oh look, she threw him. Dude, we have Disney money. We're going to see Jessica Jones fuck people up. That is so exciting. I cannot wait to see her fuck some people up. That's going to be so cool to see. Life is good right now.
I started looking up Punisher titles. Punisher Max. That's pretty good.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Pretty good. No, I'm very excited for the portrayal of Jessica Jones. It's a great cast. It's a great performance. It's a great character. And it's all a positive on my end as far as I'm concerned.
100%. I cannot be more excited about Krysten Ritter as Jessica Jones coming back in any capacity, but specifically Daredevil. pump it in my veins. Give it to me every day. I love it. But guys, what do you think? Are you excited for Jessica Jones to come back in Daredevil Born Again with Krysten Ritter reprising the role? Do you have other theories as to what's going to go on? Or are you not excited? Let us know down in the comments below. And guys, that is the last story we have for you on our show. Before we go, we just wanted to say, 1, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure. 2, we are going to be on the Films for Breakfast podcast coming out soon with the amazing Adam Sedaris. So be on the lookout for that. We'll share it in our community tab whenever it's out. I'm trying to think what else we got coming up. We'll have another live show on Monday or Tuesday. I think it'll be... I actually don't know what it'll be yet. We have to figure that out. But we're going to be doing one of those. We also have some movie reviews coming out. Be on the lookout for a Final Destination review. Be on the lookout for our review of the next Doctor Who episode, which will hopefully come out tomorrow or Sunday. And as always, if you
Phoenician
need...
Scheme too.
Yes, we got to see the Phoenician Scheme. And so that will release when the embargo allows us to release it. So be on the lookout for that as well.
We got an embargo, guys.
We did it. Woo!
It's rare, but we got it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Got some other screenings next week. Just be on the lookout. And we're being a lot more active with shorts and TikTok and Instagram of kind of clipping out parts of the show. If you don't support us on those other platforms, please do us a favor and go over to our TikTok, over to our Instagram, and become a follower and, like our little clips that we do. We were trying to grow and be more aware of our brand and who we are and what we like, so that would be extremely helpful to us. Thank you. And as always, if you're an audio-only listener, you can find us on any of your podcasting app of choice, but please come over and watch the video because that's how we get paid. Yeah, I think that just about covered it.
Yeah, no, you crushed it.
Thank you. Well, guys, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.